to another video. Today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. You may know him as Crypto. He has a YouTube channel, and I've been friends with him for a few years now. He's starting to create a story that I'm gonna unofficially call "Let It Escape," and you'll see why. Um, and he's been releasing on his Instagram bits and pieces of the story in like a FNAF-esque style where like you have to put it all together yourself. So I decided I'm gonna take a shot at it. So I've already read through all of it, I've already looked through all of it, and the main story as far as we can tell is a teenager who has been going through therapy for some time because of a mistake he's done to someone really close to him, which we do get a little info about in a email that said that I'm guessing is sent to that person based on how it's worded and what it's talking about. And that was one of the 5 sections that we figured that out even more to solidize that there was some mistake that happened in the past, an incident that happened with someone else. The first section that he posts, it mentions that mistake as if it says you let a person close to you go and they left because you decided to be an immature teenager. That line kind of solidizes that Human 2 is a teenager. Oh yeah, that's their name. It's inside all of this. Human and then a number, which I guess that's a way to hide their names. Human 2 is a teen who is most likely 14 or 15, based on what it shows. And the therapy sessions, I found that out because for one section 63, which is the third section he posts, section 63 is the first line mentions, "Hi, I'm your new therapist" by Human 16, which we'll label as new therapist in characters. And then there's Human 1, which shows up in Session 7, who, as far as I can tell, is the original therapist he was seeing. Human 26 shows up in the latest chapter of this, Section 84, and that character is unknown of the relation to Human 2. And by doing a little bit of math, if there's 84 sessions so far, let's say he goes to therapy once a week, because we don't know when he goes or what it really is. It might not even be therapy at all, which I'll get into that in a sec. If he is going to it once a week and there's 84 sessions, that means this has been going on, based on this knowledge, for 1.6 years, so a little over a year and a half. And then here comes my theory. My theory for this, I've mentioned that he's been going to therapy for quite some time because of a mistake he's done, but I don't think it's actually therapy. I think it's the therapy sessions are a stand-in for him consulting in his own mind. And then context clue evidence, like the choice of, in Section 63, putting apostrophes on the word therapist and nothing else to kind of lean focus on that word is a little weird, that it would show apostrophes on therapist as if the word therapist needs to be looked at and taken into consideration. Also, an interesting line that was said in Session 64 also is that when the therapist tries to get him to go deeper into what he's been saying, he says, you are my thoughts." The quote is, quote, "You're just my thoughts, you already know all of this knowledge." Human 16, "I don't know what you exactly mean." Human 2, "Let it escape," and then it cuts off. End of Unknown Session 63. That is very interesting that he says, "You are just my thoughts." At first I was thinking, well, if it's a therapist, then of course it's his thoughts, because the therapist may have prior knowledge from the last therapist and all the notes that was taken by the last therapist. That he says, "You are just my thoughts," like saying if his thoughts had a name, it would be Human 16. It would be Human 16. Human 16 would be his head. You already know all of this knowledge, which doesn't really show much, but it kind of supports "You're just my thoughts." And then his newest connection that he put in has a new character, Human 26, and this does not seem like a therapist at all. "I'm gonna be real with you, name redacted, what's wrong with you?" Human 2, "I don't know." Human 26, "Answer me, goddammit, what's wrong with you?" And the fact that Human 26 is yelling at him shows that it wouldn't be a therapist, because therapists aren't allowed to yell at the patient, because they're trying to help him, not degrade him. And then he also says another line that goes back to section 63, and that is, "Please just leave my head, please. Say, or God help me," said by Human 26. Human 2, "Let me leave," and then it cuts off. End of Unknown Session 84. Which means 2 of the 5 have been 2 of the 3 sessions, 2 of the 3 sessions show that he's asking whoever's talking to leave his head, or "You're just my thoughts," or somehow recall a fact that something is in his head telling him stuff. And the "in his head" part, I feel like that is literal. He's literally talking to himself, regretting that moment in his life, and because of it, he's now consulting with himself about what happened, and he has been just going downhill with his mental health and his mental awareness. He's just been going down and down and down with it, and basically just gone to the point where now he's talking to himself. And since he's talking to himself, that's the reason why these characters are yelling at him and apparently already know this knowledge. One other thing is the fact that it's set up as therapy sessions, which is really weird. That might just be to throw off. It almost threw me off into schizophrenia, and after Session 84 came out, it kind of threw that theory out the window. but it shows that therapy as in when you go to psychotherapy, you go because you're trying to get help mentally. You're trying to help yourself, and by helping yourself, you consult with someone else, which would be your therapist. But in this case, it would be himself. Instead of going and getting professional help, he is confronting himself about this. He is consulting himself with this. He is talking to himself about this. Now, there are definitely problems with this theory. Like, Session 7 does not fully support that, because Human 1 talks like an actual person talking to Human 2. So maybe that is actual therapy. In Session 63 and Session 84, it doesn't show that. But in Session 7, it does. So that means that character might actually be a therapist. That's the problem I find with my theory, is that not all of it fits together. And then that's one of the problem. That's only one of the only problems I have found with this series so far. And trust me, this theory, I'd give it just a couple more lore hints. I give it a couple more lore hints until it's revealed that this is wrong. But as far as we know right now, this is most likely what is happening. He is not talking to a therapist. He is not actually getting professional help. He is talking in his head. He feels bad about what happened in the past, and now is consulting with himself about what happened, why he's in the wrong, why his mental health has been kind of going down, therefore talking to himself. Long story short, this story is starting to shape up as a starting to shape up as a regret story. A regret of something he has done to someone very important in his life, this character's life, and now he is consulting in his head what is going on. Why did he do that? Why did he think to do that? What actually is happening? He may have been going to a therapist at first, but from what it shows, he's talking in his head, and it's all in his head. The humans, Human 16 and Human 26, those are all people. Those are all his thoughts talking to him. Those are all his thoughts consulting with himself. And that's my theory for this video. I really have nothing else to say about that. Right now we only have 5 bits of lore, and these 5 bits of lore do not seem very helpful so far. It's giving us an idea, but it's not laying down a clear structure yet. But don't worry, I will be making more videos on this. When more and more comes out. Me and my friend Josh, I wouldn't be able to do this without him, because he was able to help me word what I was trying to say. But I will definitely continue to do this, because this story is starting to shape up into something really good. It's starting to shape up into a really good story, and I want to figure out what the full story is. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Hopefully y'all have a great evening, afternoon, morning, night, whenever the hell you're watching this video. And I will see you in the next one. Peace out.